the clouds like Zeus. When they say you ain't the GOAT, I come down like who?
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Plugged In with Jay. Of course, MJ, the plug, your host, here with a Grammy Award nominated artist, White Gold. How are you doing, my man?
Good, man. How's everything?
It's great. I appreciate you asking, man. Nobody really asked the host how they're doing, I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm a very, I guess I'm an accommodating person, man.
I appreciate you. So I know you're a busy man. You're in the studio right now, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time. We'll just get rolling and hopefully we'll have a good time doing it. All right?
Awesome.
All right, my man. So growing up in the Bronx, correct?
Yep.
Perfect, man. Can you take us through what growing up in the Bronx was like for you? Like how old were you when you decided that music was it, like what you wanted to do?
I mean, honestly, growing up in the Bronx, it was the '90s, man. So it was hard, man. It was really fucking hard. I almost got kidnapped. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, when I was I think I was probably like 9 or 10 years old. Almost got kidnapped. My grandmother got robbed, almost thrown off the roof. Crazy shit just was like happening, right? And yeah, so yeah, it was just a lot. It
How
was
did
a
you,
lot, man. It was a crazy ass time.
bro? And I know it's something that you look back, you can laugh about it now.
Yeah, but yeah, at the time, that shit was terrifying. Like I was like, "What the fuck? Like, where do we live, bro? Like, shit is like a war zone. But
man,
and then
so how did you
and then
almost
you
get
like,
kidnapped?
oh, that one we were just playing behind like the projects that I grew up in. Like, it's a lot of buildings, like almost like in a big circle, and then like in the back of the buildings is like playground, basketball court, and like different things like that. So like a crackhead that came to us, me and my friend Jamel, I remember like clear as day, and we were playing, and she like came up to us and she's like, "Y'all want some watermelon?" And then yeah, and then we were like, "No, we're good." And she grabbed our hands. She grabbed our hands and started running with us. And so
Whoa.
like luckily, yeah, I know. And we were just like yelling, screaming, everything. Like I thought like that was it.
Right.
And his luckily like my friend Jamel's older brother was playing in at the basketball court. He saw it. He ran her down and just like punched her in the face. And
Yeah.
then she's like, just being such a crackhead, she was like, "Whoa!" Like she was high as fuck or
No,
something.
bro.
She literally did the Karate Kid like, "Whoa!" I remember like seeing her do this shit, and then like he just was like, boom, 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 just like fucking beat the shit out of her. But yeah, that was
Oh
that was
my God, bro.
yeah, I know it was kind of crazy, but
I'm sorry, bro. I know it's like
you
this
know,
traumatizing for you back in the
bro,
day.
it was traumatizing, but at the same time, I was like, this is normal. I had to like get on with it.
I mean, you went back to playing. Like,
Yeah, like I just was like, all right, man, go back to playing. Like we'll be good. We'll go upstairs in like a couple hours. Like that's it.
it's
And
just
like
being
that
a
crackhead is
crackhead.
like, she's like someone that like she didn't like die or anything like that. She's still alive to like this day, man. And that
The women
was
that tried kidnapping you?
34. Yeah, I'm like 34.
How
She's
do you
still
know
alive.
that?
She just live forever, man. Resilient and shit.
The people from the neighborhood or something tell you? Like, how do you
Yeah,
know?
like I think I saw her like maybe 5 years ago, and then like I asked recently, like, yo, is she still like around? And they're like, yeah, she's still around.
Maybe we're missing out on something, man. Maybe crack is
I
just
don't
like
know.
the gateway to
She
like
has some
fountain you.
super crack or something, man.
Jesus, bro. Like, it's just another day, I guess. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, even then, like I loved music. I did music. I used to do like I have like a notebook that I used to write like people's song lyrics in it and like look at it to like learn the lyrics and shit. Like all the Biggie stuff, all the Nas shit. Like I used to do that, but I never really thought like, oh, I'm gonna make music. I just know that I loved music to that intense degree of like, I just want to learn it. I want to embody it. Basically, I used to do that shit for Bone Thugs. I remember when they used to fucking rap so fast. I
Right.
remember just being like, just coming up with my own kind of lyrics, because it was just so fast. Yeah.
That's funny you say that. I did the same stuff when I was listening to Twista and stuff like that when I was
Yeah, I just like make up my own shit. I'm like, yeah, it gotta be this, man.
right. It's gotta be saying this, bro.
It's
Like,
gotta be hippopota.
oh shit, man. So all right. So you had the Notebook as a kid, you're growing up, didn't really think that it was gonna take off the way that it did, but like saying that, who were your influences? Like who like
Oh
like
man, Biggie. First of all, like Big is like my first favorite rapper. Yeah, like my first favorite rapper. I remember died when I turned 10. Like literally a week after I turned 10. That's when he got killed. Um, Biggie for sure. There's an artist called Patra that I really really love. Like she's like a Jamaican artist.
okay.
I remember just having. I remember this was before we had like cable and we had like the antenna TV.
Yeah.
Like
Rabbit ear.
my cousins used to make me like stand on the TV and hold the antenna and
And
not
like
move it,
tinfoil.
and they be dancing. I'm like, I want to see. Like I would move, and then like it would like mess up the channel. They're like, no, stand straight, stand like this. Yeah. So those are, I don't even think people know that kind of struggle, like, of like TV antennas. No, people like antennas. What the fuck is that? But
Yeah, I remember that with the little knob on the front you'd have to
yeah,
click, and then yeah, I remember having to put tinfoil on the edge of it. I even tried
yep,
gum to stick it on there. Yeah.
yep, yeah. So like that, her, I loved like Queen Latifah. I loved MC Light. I loved Nas. Like, but yeah, for me it was primarily Biggie. Like Biggie was the one that like kind of like transcended everything. And then after Big was it was Nas, but then it was like Bone. I went through a huge Bone Thugs phase. Like
Oh yeah.
love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those were pretty much my childhood ones. And then like as I grew up, like teenage years, Jay-Z. Like like probably when I was like 13, 14, I was pretty much like, yeah, Jay Z is the best rapper. Like, no one can really fuck with him, and I still think that to this day. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's been my favorite rapper for the longest time. But yeah, oh, I loved Juvenile at the time as well.
Yeah.
I just like people that were like unique and like had um something unique about them.
Yeah.
That wasn't
I
just like
remember.
super orthodox or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. All unorthodox. Yeah, I remember whenever I was a kid and listening to Juvie, whenever like 504 Boys and stuff started coming out, I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
fucked with Juvie because whenever he came out with that was
Yeah, I loved
yeah,
Ha and like the Jay-Z remix. And so
yeah,
that's how I got hip to him. And then I was listening, I remember like listening to the You Understand? That's
yeah.
you understand. I'm like, yo, who like why does this person rap like that? It's so weird, but it was like cool,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
He
don't know.
he
I
had
just
several
loved it. I
hits.
loved him just being like, you understand after every bar. Like, you
Yeah.
understand? It
Uh-huh.
was just cool. I hadn't really heard anything like it.
Yeah, man. I've
Yeah.
always liked Juvie and all them too. Like yeah, exactly what you said.
Hell yeah.
He had a whole different swag to him to where when I listened to it,
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, this is because I'm from Baton Rouge, so like I'm from around New Orleans, so
Oh yeah, so
yeah.
you know about that shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Hell yeah.
So can you give us a little bit of your background in the music industry?
Yeah. So I got into the music industry um through a friend of mine named Jay News and a friend of mine named Kels. Um, Kels used to be an intern for G Roberson, and I remember Jay News is the one that like he put like on the and he put like on Twitter like, oh send beats or whatever. Back in the day when people used to just be like, oh send beats to this email, and it was just
Uh-huh.
like a random shit. Back
Yeah.
when people actually sent shit to the emails.
Uh-huh.
So I sent shit, and then like maybe like 4 months later, like they hit me up like, "Yo, you have a placement with Cameron," and I was like,
Oh,
"What?
really?
Oh, okay, that's cool as shit." And they're like, "Yeah, we fuck with your shit. Like, we want you to come out to New York." And I was living in Pittsburgh at the time. I went to college in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Um, so I went back home to New York, and went to visit them or whatever, and played music for them. And they're just like, "Yo, like we love your shit. Like we want to help you get placement." So, literally the same beat that I got the placement with Cameron on, like a couple weeks later, we heard that Young Jeezy wanted it.
Oh,
And then, like Young Jeezy put a song to it called "I Got This," and like he put it out, and we're like, "Okay, I guess." And then after that, like things kind of just like went silent basically. But I had gotten the taste for it. So I was just like, oh man, like it feels good. It was like a rush. Like
yeah.
having, all this shit like happen. And I was just like, you know what? Like I gotta take it upon myself to like make moves instead of just sit there and let somebody else like, do it. So I started putting my music out on like in the comment section of like Nah Right,
Yeah.
and like build gain some friends like that. Just putting the shit in forums and stuff like that. So I started doing that, and also just putting it out on Twitter. And I remember one time like I was just like in the crib, and I got a DM from someone, and they're like, "Yo, you need to join Joe Budden's like Ustream. Like somebody mentioned your name, and he's like, who the fuck is B Works?" And so my name was B Works at the time.
Right,
And he was like, "Who the fuck is B Works?" And they're like, "Yo, go in there, go in there." So like I went in there, and they're like, he was like, "Yo, everybody's telling me that your beats are hard. Like, send some shit." And then like they DM'd me an email, and so he was like, "I'm gonna play that shit on air on Ustream, because if you whack, I'm gonna shame you." Like basically,
okay.
yeah, crazy, right? So I sent him shit, and like the first three he listened to, he ended up making songs of like he was just like, "Oh man, this shit is crazy." Like, okay, yeah. So then I mean, I think we made like 6 songs in total,
Nice.
in that year or 2 year span. Yeah, but so I just started doing shit for self, just doing stuff for myself. And um, my friend Kels, the guy who got me the Cameron and Jeezy placement, he had a friend named Steven Victor, who I'm sure so many people know Steven Victor.
Mhm.
Manager for Pop Smoke, managed the designer, Pusha T, the Dream. So Steve saw me and was like, "Yo, like I think you're dope. I want to manage you," and it just started from there. And that's basically how I got in. And Steve is the one that got me my first publishing deal with Warner. I'm still, with Warner as well. But yeah, so it started from there.
So you how old were you when you put the beats on, like for
Oh,
the
I was out of college, so I was probably like 22, 23.
okay.
I didn't even start making music until like I was like 20.
That's what I was gonna say. So
Yeah, in
how,
college.
how long were you like really focusing on it until that happened? What, 3 years?
I would say, all right. So like I got my basically my taste of like making music
Mhm.
in freshman year. So I was 18, but I did not like actually make music until I was like 20, because I just didn't know how to use FL Studio.
I got you.
So my friend that introduced me, he lived right next door to me. I call him my roommate because eventually he was my roommate, one of those years, but not that freshman year. He introduced it to me, and then I was like kind of terrible. So I was just like, whatever, like it's cool. But he, like, I give him credit. Like I remember every like few months he'd be like, "Are you like you're not gonna like make beats? Like I think you'd be good." And
Yeah.
then like I think it was like end of sophomore year going into junior year. Um, he was like, "No, you got to, you got to do it." So I sat down and like actually started like making it work. Then I started making music, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be good at this. Like I was like, oh, I could see that I could be good at it. And so like that's when I like started like really focusing and making music. And I would go and look for samples and shit and all
Yeah.
this shit. I became consumed with it at like 20, when I was 20. So like it probably took like um I don't know, man. 20 it took a while because through all then like the I'd say 2 years out of college is when like I got the Joe Budden stuff. Uh yeah, so it was probably like a year and a half, 2 years out of college. So I probably had been doing it maybe 3, 4 years.
Okay.
And then like 3 years after that is when I got my publishing deal. So all in all, I'd probably say like 6 or 7 years,
Yeah.
just grinding basically and
Yeah.
then getting it. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people probably hear 6, 7 years and they're like, man, it's not a lot of time. That's a lot of time, man. That's a
It's a lot of
long
time, man.
time.
It's a lot of time to like hone your skills and stuff like. So like at the time too, like I end up meeting Just Blaze and like building a rapport with him, and
Oh,
you
cool.
know yeah, luckily like we became good friends to where he would give me advice and everything like that. I'd be able to like send him music, like
Sure.
it got to a point where he even like gave me access to like his server where it was like a ton of fucking files. I don't know how he trusted me, but he trusted me. There's like old Jay-Z, unreleased Jay-Z stuff, like all
Oh,
yeah, just like so
gold
much
mine.
shit. And like, yeah, for me, I was like, it was a sense of pride of like, why would I want to like even like release anything of this? Like,
Right.
somebody is giving me trust of like their shit, like,
Yeah.
opened up a huge library of stuff to me.
Hmm.
Let me just use this and like try and get better and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's what I did. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he would help. As far as he wouldn't even help as far as being like, oh, this is what you need to do. He'll be like, oh, this is what it isn't. Like, figure it out. And be like, oh, your drums suck. And
This
he's
is
like,
what it is, and I
and
like
he'd be
that.
like, I'm like, how do I get my drums to be better? He's like, figure it out.
Don't
And
do
I'm
this.
like, yeah. And I'm just like, you fucking frustrating. Like, you could literally tell me what the fuck. But it's good because it created that like I don't know, that want to learn,
Right.
I
Yeah,
wanted
it
to
helped
like
you
figure
learn
things
through
out.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helped me like want to figure things out. And this was before you could YouTube everything,
Right.
get all the answers on YouTube in a video. Like there was nothing on YouTube. I'm talking this shit was
Right.
bare.
Cat videos and shit.
Yeah, it was bare, man. It was fucking bare. Like there's nothing. So I had to like really sit there and like trial and error and everything like that.
Mhm.
Like and try and like go into forums. Like there was stuff like Future Producers and Gear Sluts was still out there. But like you wouldn't necessarily get specific answers.
Right.
It would just be like, all right, well, this kind of pertains to it. So like I can use this information to
Mhm.
kind of figure out my problem here. But
Yeah.
I feel like that our kind of generation that did that, like the people that like I know that are like so fucking dope that came from like that era. Like
Yeah.
I have a friend named Ant-Man Wonder. Um uh who else? There's just a bunch of people like Sport. He's dope. Like it just created like a different beast in us. Like
Yeah.
we wanted to learn and we wanted to actually just be dope for just being
Yeah.
dope.
That makes
Yeah.
perfect sense, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's his way of teaching. It's like, what's that old adage? Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he'll eat forever. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So it was definitely something like that.
Yeah. It also put that mentality in your brain to where you put in the work. It's not like these, and I get shit for being like, millennials, like is what I say. Like
Yeah.
they don't know how to put in the work anymore. Like they
Yeah.
just think that everything's gonna get handed to them,
Yeah.
but they're no, that just doesn't work. If you don't put in the work, nothing's gonna happen. And like I
Yeah,
said,
and for me too, like when I'm making music, I try and like place restrictions on myself. So I'm not just like, oh, everything's at my disposal. I try and like restrict myself to a certain amount of plugins or something like that.
Sure.
So, that restriction kind of breeds invention and like ingenuity,
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
have barriers that you need to get past. And
exactly.
if
It
you have
sharpens your
everything
tools.
just like, yeah, yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely. It's always good to hone your craft the way that you're doing. Exactly what you're saying is what so many people are missing nowadays. They just want to get handed stuff. Like you'll see people on TikTok and stuff just thinking that because they do like they point in a direction and a fucking box pops up and they're like, why am I not rich or famous? It's like, what the fuck? That's how it works, bro. But
Exactly, it's not how it works.
no. But before you were saying that you went by B Works. What brought
Yeah.
on the change to white gold? What brought on?
I just wanted to separate who I was as a producer because I felt like I've done a lot as a producer. I was on freaking. I did songs with Pusha T, Lil Wayne, Rick Ross, like
Man,
I just worked with an extensive amount of people, as a producer. I just wanted to kind of be fresh and like differentiate myself from my artistry stuff, like just
sure.
even anything that had like my voice in it. I just wanted it to be a separate entity, as because B Works was strictly me producing stuff. So I kind of wanted to just like distance myself from it. But
Yeah.
it's funny because everybody that I know still calls me B Works. I'm like, it's white gold. They're like, oh yeah, B Works. What's up? I'm like, fuck you, it's white gold.
Just don't answer anymore. Like,
Yeah,
just don't even
it's
look
just
at you like,
like people that just have known me for years, right? It's hard for them to kind of like switch up and call me another name. And it's like,
right.
oh, B Works, yeah. I just let it go.
That's like me, man. I started off, we got furloughed from work. So my wife, I'm obsessed with fantasy football, man. Like it all,
Oh,
yeah, bad. It all started with that. And then I got blessed doing an interview and I just fell in love with interviewing and I love rap, hip hop and stuff. So I started kind of bringing all of that together. And
mm.
I go by Jay the Plug. Well, before I was, the fantasy football plug, and everybody called me Pluggo or Plug or whatever. But now I go, I'm Jay,
Oh, so yeah.
so it's the same thing. So everybody keeps calling me Pluggo, which it is what it is because I'm still Jay the Plug because I'm keeping you plugged in or
Yeah.
whatever, and some stuff in the past. But but enjoy Coke. So we, but yeah, man, I know exactly what you mean. It's like whenever they come up to me and they start saying something to me, and like they'll be right in my face, and I'll just start looking around like, I won't pay attention, like kind of a dick until they call me by what
That's
I want.
hilarious. That's hilarious.
So you started off as a producer, like you were stating.
Hmm.
Um, did like whenever you were producing, did you have hopes? Did you want that to lead and like catapult you into becoming a performer?
No, actually, that's funny because like, even when I was a kid, that I loved like lyrics and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
was obsessed with lyrics. I wasn't necessarily obsessed with beats or anything like that. I never had like aspirations of being like a producer, but I did love production in high school. Like I remember like Bink, Just Blaze, like,
Yeah,
Timbo, just, all these people that were just like very, very fucking dope. Like I admired what they did. And I was just like, I always thought like Young Guru was a producer in high school because Jay-Z used to shout him out on records, you
right,
know? So I was like,
right.
oh man, that Young Guru song that he produced. And they're like, no, that's Just Blaze. He produced that. Or that's Bink. And I was like, oh shit. And they're like, yeah, Young Guru's an engineer. And that's how I like learned that there's a, recording engineer and all this shit. Like
Right.
all this stuff, if you don't know, it's like, oh, that's how
Yeah.
you do it. Oh, like so many people don't even know how like a record is made.
Yeah. I've become friends with T-Pain and like Cheo Nash and stuff. And I still have no idea. Like I was gonna ask you, like, what's the difference? Like, no clue. And by the way, I've been fucking with top hats before T-Pain, so
Oh
just
shit.
saying. So what if could you tell me real quick, what's the difference between an engineer and a producer?
Producer. All right. So the engineer, there's two types of engineers or three types, I guess. A recording engineer. A recording engineer is someone that records the vocals of an artist or whatever.
Okay.
So that person is, is the one that sits there and records literally the vocals of an artist. A producer is somebody who puts the song together. So a producer can be the beat maker,
Okay.
the person who makes the beat, but usually in the real sense of the word, a producer is just someone that puts together the song. So
I see.
if the person has a vision of putting two artists together on this song, cool, and then like they get this beat. Let's say that he's not a beat maker, so he gets this beat and he's like, you know what, like this section belongs first,
Okay.
and this needs to be repeated here. And so he'll start to arrange the song or whatever and be like, oh man, I see a vision of it. And, like somebody does vocals on it and he'd be like, you know what? Repeat those last two phrases that you said. It'll sound catchier. That's what a producer does. It's just like
Okay.
helps shape, a song.
Yeah.
So it's more abstract than it is like a concrete thing of like a recording engineer. But
Hmm.
then you also have like a mixing engineer because after everybody records their shit, they sit there and make sure that the beat and the vocals coalesce and like have harmony between them and sound good. And
Sure.
that's what a mixing engineer is. And then a mastering engineer is just someone that just makes um, kind of brings it to that professional standard, like gets it ready for DSPs and radio and stuff like that. And just like it adds like the last like 5% of like polish or whatever that is needed, you
Sure.
know. Yeah.
Double checks the product before they put it out.
Yeah, basically.
Understood. I got you. Thanks, man. I appreciate you clearing that up. Now,
Yeah.
if anybody asks me, I might be able to explain that to them, even though I probably won't remember most of it. I'll just have to cue them to our interview, man.
Yeah.
So, I've heard that you don't write. You like to go
Oh,
off the top. Is that right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to write a lot. I mean, I don't think that there's anything wrong with writing. Like,
Sure.
I'm
Right.
not those people that was like, oh yeah, I just go off the top because I'm nice. Like, no, I don't think like I
Right.
used to write stuff down, but like for me, I noticed that when I wrote stuff down, I would try to adhere to whatever was written down a little too much
Okay.
instead of like feeling the shit. So I was like, you know what? Like, I can remember the lines that I do anyway. Like, you know,
Right.
let me just like keep them in my head. And then like if I'm saying something, if it comes out a different way, comes out sounding a little bit more natural, if I change a word or two or whatever, let
Okay.
me go with that instead of like looking at the page and being like, oh no, that's a mistake. Instead of
Sure.
looking
Okay.
at that improvisation as a mistake,
Hmm.
now without having to look at like paper or my screen, it's a lot easier for me to like visualize a song or whatever if I just keep it in my head and just like go from there.
Sure. Right.
So what I'm doing is basically instead of thinking about it, writing it down, and then singing it, I just think about it, keep it in my head, and then sing it. I just cut out that step of just writing it down, basically.
I
Yeah, and
got
it's just a lot easier for me. Um, it helps me creatively. It just helps me just yeah, just come up with different shit, like just a little better.
I got you. Yeah, man. Like me, whenever, like if I have an interview coming up, like for our interview, if I wake like it when I'm trying to sleep, my brain just goes crazy unless I take something to try and knock
Same.
me out. But like I have a pad and a pen and paper to where if I think of a question, I write that down real quick because I won't remember it by the time
Oh
I
yeah,
get there. But if you
yeah,
like, do you ever feel like you need to do that? Like, is there something that pops into your head and you're like, shit, I don't want to forget this?
yeah. I mean, it's something crazy pops in my head. Like I say something and I'm like, oh, that's kind of profound.
Sure.
I'll write it down. I have like a note, uh, a note part of the in my like in notes in my iPhone. Like I have
Right.
a page where I just write down the ideas of random shit. I don't necessarily check it that much, but I know that like if I do check it, like there's gonna be ideas in there that like I can use. But other than that, no. And also like I don't write lyrics outside of the music. Like I don't sit there and just like I'm not like a poet or like a poet or anything like that. So I don't do music outside of music, you know, like I have to
Sure,
hear
yeah.
the beat. I like when I'm making a beat, like it evokes an emotion in me that dictates what the song is going to be talked about, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it's never the other way around. Like I know there's some people that like, oh, I need to write about this and this and this, and so they'll like have lyrics, and then like when they hear a beat that kind of matches it, then they'll do it. For me, I need to hear the beat first, and then go from there. You know?
Totally. Yeah. See, I was thinking about that too. I wondered, like, I thought about those who write in a notepad, which again, nothing wrong with it. I think it's an incredible talent still, but
Yeah.
like you'd have to wait for the specific tone and beat and everything to put that with, because
Mhm.
you might think that it would sound good with something with a lot of like hi-hat or something, but then you want
Yeah.
something with a deep line, or it would just sound better in a certain way. But like the way that you're talking, I mean, it's
Yeah.
perfect because it flows so much better. You can tell.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
a lot easier for me to just like hear what the track is giving me and then like give something back to it other than trying to fit something I already did to, you know, something that's being created in the moment. Yeah.
Right, right. Bruce Lee always says, man, be water.
Yeah, you know. For
Yeah, for
sure.
real.
Yeah. I
Oh,
love flexibility and shit like that. Yeah.
100%. So like, yeah, most of the time, whenever I do interviews, something will pop up. Like whenever we start talking, we start laughing and stuff. It's all generic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See them, but like whenever it starts rolling off, it's always the best conversation. So I
Yeah,
know exactly what
definitely.
you mean, man.
Yeah.
So of course you already know. I'm sure you've talked about this at nauseum. So I'll try and go quick with this. You Gonna Learn and Zeus are two of my favorite tracks on
Oh
Eminem's.
man, appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Like,
I did you gonna learn in this room.
is that right?
You gonna learn in this fucking room right here in this fucking chair. Hell yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
y'all all see that right there. He did it right
Yeah.
there.
You gonna learn in this fucking room. Crazy.
Oh, dude, it's two of my favorite tracks, and I'll be completely honest. I love M and I love Royce, and I'm huge on lyricists. But when it comes to, and my wife will attest to this, when it comes to hooks, that's what, I mean, no pun intended, hooks me into a song, man. And
Nice,
when
man.
I heard you start going off on Zeus, I was like, she always makes fun of me because I make that stink face. Like I'll sit there and I'll listen.
Oh
I'm like,
man.
okay, jamming in, and then all of a sudden you start singing. I'm like, she's like, you like that?
Man,
I'm
I
like, yeah,
appreciate that,
it's,
man. Yeah, I really
man,
appreciate that. Yeah, hell yeah,
from the
man.
heart. I mean it.
Oh man, that
um,
it's kind of surreal just hearing people like really fuck with it like that. Like I still get messages of like people like, "Yo, Zeus is crazy, bro." Blah blah blah. I'm just like, damn, y'all still fucking with that? Yeah, people love it, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
like I remember when the song came out, like my inbox had thousands of people like
I
messaging me,
bet.
thousands, and it was just like it was so overwhelming. Like, oh man, but it was good. It was a blessing, you know. Like people just showing love, man. There was nobody that was like hating or whatever. There's a couple people in the comments, but like it's all good, man. Who cares? Like, you know, people just want attention and shit like that. But
Mhm.
um yeah, man, it's been good. It's been dope. Like you gonna learn. I made it here. Royce's room is next door. I was talking to him. He had the beat playing on loop. We were talking for hours, and I was just like, yo, like let me put something down to that. So let me go to the room and like put something down. And then, you know, I came in here and I just like fucking around. Probably like 10 minutes later,
Uh-huh.
10 minutes later. I don't know. I gotta look because I have me messing around in my voice note shit. Like you're coming up with the hook and everything like that. And yeah, once I did it, I was like, dun, 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 you gonna learn. I was like, oh, this sounds good. And then like yeah, I just like once that melody came to me, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna crush this shit. You know, and it wasn't for Eminem, it was for Royce.
Mhm.
It was supposed to be like a posse cut, like I was supposed to be on it. I have like a verse on it. Um, yeah, so it was just yeah, it was something that like it was for Royce's album, and then he played it for M, and M was like, "Who the fuck is that on the song? Like that shit is crazy."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Yo, can I have the song, please?" And Royce was like, "Of course, but I'm gonna put my verse on it." So then like he put it because he knew he was like, "Damn, if he fucking with it like that, like I gotta put my verse in this shit," you know. So that's what he did, And yeah, it was great, man. It was awesome.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. I love hearing stuff like that. So how did you get hooked up with Royce to begin with?
Oh, Royce's manager is a good friend of mine. So I've been friends with his manager for years,
Oh, cool.
and I used to work with one of his artists, and that's how I met him. Through one of my really really good friends, one of my best friends, Zach Wilson, who was managed by Royce's manager. And yeah, like randomly, I think I put like a freestyle out on like SoundCloud over like this like Drake beat. Right. It was just like a random shit that I did.
Sure.
And like he heard it and called me up and was like, yo, you still do music, right? Like I don't know what it is with that phrase of yo, you still do music. But whenever somebody says that, like my life gets changed. Like they're like, yo, you still make music? I got something for you. And then like, something happened.
Yeah.
So happened with me meeting Steven Victor, it happened with me getting the pub deal, like all this shit. But like he was like, yo, I played your shit for Royce and he wants you to like come to Detroit, like come link with him, like come, come through, like, work on hooks and just work on music.
Man.
And he was like, yeah, not as a producer, but like he fucks with your lyrics. And it was like the first time where someone like reputable was like, yo, lyrically, like I fuck with
Yeah.
I fuck with your words. So like I came here and like because I was getting so tired of like producing and shit. I was
Uh-huh.
just getting burnt out. And like I just came here and I didn't like have to make a beat or anything like that. And just working on just like writing stuff. It was just so freeing. And You
Yeah.
Gonna Learn is one of like the songs that it's one of the first songs that I did when I came here. I think no, it wasn't the first time I came here. I think I came here like end of uh Thanksgiving, so like end of November, and
Okay.
then like maybe right after Christmas I came back. Right after Christmas I came back to Detroit, and that's when we did You Gonna Learn. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's cool, man. I love
Mhm.
hearing stories like that. How much stuff
Yeah,
started.
that record is
So
that record.
you came up with that hook off the top basically. You were in the room listening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It just started that way. That's
Yeah, all of my music comes out of thin air, basically. It's not anything. It's just me. Oh, hearing the beat, and then like something comes, and I'm like, oh, all right, I can make this into an idea. Like for me, like as far as like lyrics go, I just pull from so much though. Like I listen to so much music, and I
mhm.
can just pull from anywhere, like concept wise or whatever it is. Like I listen to like heavy metal. I listen to fucking. It's just matching. I just did a hook for a friend of mine, just like a random idea. It wasn't even like a hook. I did a random idea for him on a beat, and I pulled out like these this melody line from like Avenged Sevenfold, like a song called
Yeah.
Backcountry,
Yeah.
and it was just because that's what it called for. And then like I played it for him. He was like, "Yo, this song is crazy," and I was just like, "Yeah, this is a song that like I loved in college," you
Yeah.
know. So it's just stuff that's in my brain. Like it's easy for me to push it out, push it on a beat if I'm really really fucking with the beat, like it,
Mhm.
it, it's not hard. It's pretty simple. Yeah.
That's, man, that's a skill. That's such a talent, bro.
Yeah, it's like such a blessing like to be able to do that because even before I like started like writing shit, I
Mhm.
was always so scared about that process of like how am I gonna find what to talk about? How am I gonna find melodies? And once I just started doing it, I'm like, oh, this shit's easy.
Yeah, it just
You
started clicking
know?
for you. And that's what I can
Yeah, it was
tell
just
whenever, whenever I'm talking to an artist is like you said, Avenged Sevenfold. That's a lot of like that's a phenomenal band. Like they're incredible. Like
I
same
love
time.
that band. Like I've seen them live. Like I love that
Really, I
band.
bet that was sick.
Yeah, that shit was amazing. Like
No, when I hear
Sinister Gates fucking holding the guitar like this and just bro, that dude is like Jack too. Like yo,
that,
yo, they just got Avenged Sevenfold is fire, bro. Like,
Yeah, they're crazy. I love listening to them when I'm training and stuff, man. And I like a rock group with a dude that's got some pipes, man.
Yeah, and I was telling them, I was like, yo, he ended up developing like nodes and polyps on his
Right.
vocal cords, and he had to do surgery. So like from the first album to the second album, his voice is way deeper because he fucked up his vocal cords before, like Unholy Confessions when he said, I wish I could be the one. He
Right.
can't even hit those kind of notes anymore because he fucked up his voice, you know? But like, yeah, like this is how attached to, the bands I was, like
Right.
I know everything about them, like yeah, I'm obsessed, bro. Like when I'm obsessed with musicians, bro, like I go in, I learn like their history and what
Yeah.
they love and what they hate and what, inspired them to be who they are, like that's the shit that like is fun to me about music. For me, like 90% of my time in music is learning about music.
Yeah.
Like I don't even make music. I make music a lot, but like I not compared to like how much I consume music as
Sure.
far as like that and all the aspects that are around it. Like that's what I enjoy. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm the same way. If I become obsessed with something, I just engulf myself with it. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy. So you work with Royce, you work with Eminem, you
Hmm.
work with a ton of big names, man. I mean, what can you break down that list for us? Like, I mean, I've read a
Yeah.
lot.
Bro, like I said, like I worked with Pharrell and Chad in Miami, for Push's album. I worked with Young Jeezy. I worked with Chris Brown. I worked with DJ Khaled. I worked with Meek Mill. Uh, I've worked with Rick Ross. Some of these songs didn't even come out. I worked with Kanye, Lil Wayne. Um, who else? Just there's a bunch of people, man. Like Future. Like I've worked with Future. The song that we had didn't come out. Um, but yeah, just a ton of people, man. I just work with a ton of people, and like I'm blessed to just have friends that are like, the real like crazy like go getters and shit. Like someone
Yeah.
like T minus has worked with any whoever, and it's funny because he had never worked with Eminem, and I was like, yo, I bet you I could get you an Eminem placement, you know, and like he's like, yeah, yeah. I was like, no, I bet you. Like I was like, before Friday, it was like a Monday. I think it was like a Monday, and I was like, before Friday, I'll get you an Eminem placement. So he sent me like 4 or 5 beats, right? And the
Yeah.
Zeus one was the first one. Zeus was the first one. So
Oh,
like he sent it, and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna call you back." So when we got off Facetime, and I fucking cut the record in like 10 minutes, bro. I cut, yo. It just came to me. It just came to me like I was just sitting there, and I was like, "I be on my own, head up in the clouds like Zeus. When they say you want to go, I come down like you." And I was like, "Who?" I was like, "Oh, like, yeah." And then it just like spawned from there. And then I cut, took another like 10 minutes to cut the vocals. And then I sent it back to him and he was like, damn, this is fire. Like, I just got off FaceTime with you. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna send it to him. I sent it to Royce. Royce was like, damn, this is crazy. He'd be a fool not to fuck with this. And then like Royce sent it to him and was like, oh, what the fuck? Is this for me? He was like, is this for me? And he's like, who is it? It's like, and he was like, white gold. And he was like, yo, this guy is bananas, bro. Like, I have like the text messages of him being like, yo, this guy is fucking bananas, bro. Like, like it's just crazy.
that's
But
what's up, man.
when he heard it, Roy sent me a screenshot back of their conversation, and then like 2 hours later, M was like, "I'm with the song. Like, you can send the stems for the beat." And I was like, "Wow!" Like, he crushed that shit in 2 hours, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
That's
the
so
song took less than a day to
oh,
make. All right. The song took less than a day to make. Like I basically like cut the vocals like 4 a.m.
uh,
Um, sent it to Royce, went to sleep. I woke up at like 2 o'clock. He's like, oh, I just sent it to him. Boom, responds. 4 o'clock, song was done. So probably like 12 hours.
12 hours, bro.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's dope.
Crazy.
Man.
It's crazy.
So about your music now. First single that I heard was Celebration.
Oh
Believe it,
man, love that record.
it's man, yeah, man, I got that on my playlist. I was listening to it. I was trying to. It's from what I get about it's about celebrating your girl and
Mhm.
basically how she's got your back through anything.
Yep,
That,
yep,
I
yep.
got that
That's
right.
exactly what it is. It's I'm always really big on like celebrating women and like the people around me.
Yeah,
So yeah, like it was just something that like made me feel good. Like in the moment when I was like making the beat, it felt like, something where it was like celebratory. Like all those vocals and whatever, it's just me and a couple of friends of mine like doing the backgrounds and stuff like that. And that song is how I got my artist name. Um,
really.
the the sample is a Barry White sample, right? But
Okay,
Barry White's group called the Love Unlimited Orchestra,
right, right.
and Love Unlimited Orchestra, one of their albums is called White Gold.
There it is.
Yeah, so
There it
I
is.
so I was like, I sampled the song of it, and I remember calling it I remember calling the session White Gold Again, right? So that was the name of the session. And a friend of mine, Tyler Busher, like I remember him coming into the room and being like, "Yo, this is fire!" Like he's like, "You're." This was probably like the second or third song that I did for myself. And he's like, "Yo, you're an artist now. Like you're gonna need a name. What's your name?" And then I was like, White Gold. And he's like, "Yo, that's fire. Keep it." That was it. That was literally it, bro.
That's
You
what's up,
know,
man.
and
We got
then
it. Yeah.
and then like I started like pondering on the name and everything like that, and then things just started making sense for it, and like me the how I juxtapose things together and everything like that. Like so, the name kind of came to embody who I was.
hmm Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Love it. That's how we got the vibe. That's what's up. That's what I wanted to hear. Um,
hell yeah.
Newest single, Many Faces.
Oh hell
Love
yeah.
it, man. That's tell
Many
me.
Faces is another record. I did it around the time of Zeus. A friend of mine sent me the beat. She sent me a beat. Like the guy she was like with at the time is the one that produced it. Um, Seb, and like she sent me the beat, and I was like, damn, I love this beat. I guess he gave it to her, for her birthday or whatever. So it was just a beat that she had, and she's like, oh yeah, like we were talking. I forget what we were talking about. I think we were talking about my girlfriend at the time, and she was just like, oh, let me send you this beat that like I got for like my birthday. So I heard it and I was like, damn, I'm gonna put something on it. So I just like did it probably like 20, 30 minutes. I just like did basically the whole song through. And I was like, yo, show it to him. Show it to him, see what he thinks. And like he fucked with it. And I was like, oh man, that's cool. So I never really planned on like using it until like I started playing it for other people.
Uh,
They're like, because I was like, yo, you know what? It's only got one verse. It's very short. Um,
yeah.
they're like, no, like you should still put it out though. Like it's a really good song. Like it hits really different. And I was just like, all right, cool. So I tried reaching out to him, and I guess his Twitter was like his Instagram wasn't working. And then like I remember that I had his email, so I like reached. I was like, yo, motherfucker, like I've been trying to reach you for fucking weeks, like. Like I want to put this song out. Do I have your blessing to put this song out? And like he answered me like probably like 5 minutes, and he's like, yeah, like I got locked out of my Instagram, so I haven't received any messages. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought he was like avoiding me or something. But yeah, so like he gave me his blessing, and
Clap
I'm like,
down.
all right, cool. Like I'm gonna put this shit out. And the song is just about my girl. Basically I was kind of like foreshadowing like the demise of a relationship, I guess, you know, and like just it being like communication problems, but it having to be having to do with me more so than like problems with her. I kept and I kept encountering the same problem. So for me, every girl that I was with, like many faces, like
Right.
I was having the same problem. So that can't just be everybody else. It's the common denominator is me.
Yep.
Yeah. So
That's what I was about to say.
that's what
Yeah.
Many Faces is about. Is like all the different relationships and the faces that I've encountered. Like I still have that same problem, so I need to work on it myself.
That's what's up, man. That's deep.
Yeah.
It's the not you, it's me thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and for real this time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not just a line, bro.
Yeah, it's not just a line.
Yeah. All right, man. One more question, and I'll let you get back to doing what you're doing, partner. Well, two more really, but one will be quick. So, what are some tips that you can give to any of the new talent coming out?
My
Trying to make
my
it.
biggest thing is read the fucking books, man. Fucking read. Please read. That's the only way that people are gonna like be able to come up with cool shit to say it
Yeah.
in a different way. Like if you learn and you just have, learn or have a way with words and learn how authors come up with, their phrasing and their pacing and things like that. It just helps, it just helps. And it just only opens you up to be doper, the more information that you have in your head. I get it. Some people don't want to do that because they're like, well, I just don't want to be influenced by other people, or I want to have my own talent. I'm like, no, that doesn't take away from your talent
Right.
because you're like feeding your brain. It doesn't. So first thing is definitely just read. Not self-help books. I'm talking about like fiction and
Yeah.
stuff that like is creative and imaginatory. That type of shit is what opens up the minds of people. you
Right.
know um and then just be a good person, basically. Like every relationship that you have, like treat it with respect. you know there's going to be some relationships that don't pan out to do anything, but who cares? Like just treat everybody with respect, and don't treat people in a transactional way of like, oh, they have something that I want, so I'm gonna just be nice to them. Like it
Right.
doesn't. Just be nice to everybody. And not everybody deserves all of your time, but like just be available for people.
Yeah.
And yeah, like there's a lot of times where people I was just cool with, and I didn't ask anything of them. Like years later, they come and just be like, yo, you want such and such opportunity. I fuck with you. Like we've always had like a good rapport.
Yeah.
And then it just works itself out. Just things like that work itself out. So just being a good person, reading, and I mean that's really just making sure that you just like honing your craft, man. Like be real with yourself, and if you're not good, man, just realize that you're not good. Not everybody has to make music. There's so much you could do around the music. You could be a manager. You can you could be an A&R. You can have an eye for talent. You
Right.
can be executive. You can work in branding and like put the artist and companies together. Like
Hmm.
you can be a tour manager. You can be so many things within music. You don't have to actually make the music.
Right.
Especially if you're real with yourself and like, I'm not that good, then don't do it. But if you think you're good and you think you're that good and you have the fortitude and everything like that, go for it. But this
Pushing.
is like a thankless fucking industry too. Like it's not necessarily like it's not like I don't know, like a linear kind of thing where it's like A plus B equals C,
Right.
because you could be dope, you could be very dope and still have no success. This shit just doesn't make sense sometimes. You can
Right.
put your all into it and end up with nothing.
Hmm.
So it's not something of like, all right, well, I'm good, so a expected outcome is gonna happen.
Right.
It could be the fact that like it's just not the right time, or you don't know how to fucking market yourself that well. You could be dope as fuck, but the person that sucks knows how to fucking market himself. That person is like playing Grand Theft Auto and putting that shit on like Twitch, and people are gravitating towards that.
Yeah.
And he might not be as dope as you, but he's entertaining.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
so
Put the
just
work in.
yeah, put the work in and just make sure that like you're just being sincere with yourself and sincere with other people. That's it.
Yeah, that's great advice, man. Great advice. Last question. You got anything cooking right now? What can we expect?
Oh man, I'm just working. I'm working on my own shit right now. I sent a couple more ideas to M. We'll see where that goes. I don't know if he's doing another album or not, but he's always recording. So
Right.
you know, he's always recording. But yeah, like right now, I'm gearing on putting like music out. Like this is gonna be the first year that I'm putting out a lot of music, for the year and not like doing stop starts and all that shit. Like I
Oh,
just want to put music out. I want to build up, my fan base and everything like that. And yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then like, whenever it's time for the M shit, like I'll do that. But like I'm also working with like other artists and stuff like that too. So, you should definitely hear some good stuff coming up. And then like always working with Royce. Me and Royce always have shit in store. So yeah.
that's what's up, man. Good deal. Happy to hear it, man. I'm excited to see it, man. I'll be looking for it for
Thank
real. Well,
you. Oh yeah.
White Gold, I cannot thank you enough for being on the show, my man. It's been a blast. Love getting to talk to you. Hopefully we keep in touch. I'll get some shoes
Hell
customized for
yeah.
you. You have any idea what you
Hell
might
yeah.
want,
Hell
man?
yeah. That'd be dope. You said what?
You got any idea what you might want, man?
Um
That's kind of a put you on the
some
spot
fucking
kind of question. I just like to see if somebody's been thinking about it.
I don't know, some dunks, man. You
Some
know?
hyper dunks?
Yeah, it could be hyper dunks. Hell yeah.
Oh, some dunks. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, yeah. What I'll do, I'll keep messaging you and we'll get all that set. I'll get the size and everything, and I'll get you something pretty dope set up.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. Thank
All
you.
right, man. Thank you so much again for being on the show, partner. We'll definitely keep in touch. I appreciate you, man. Thank you
All
so much.
right, man. All right, man. Can I do a shout out?
Absolutely, man. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to shout out Royce because Royce is the fucking man. That's my
Yeah,
guy. Yeah, man. Just shout out everybody that like fucks with me, man, and all the people that like helped me get to where I'm at, man. That's basically it, man.
that's what's up, man. I love that. Always, you're the first person that's ever done a shout out on the show, man.
Oh shit, nice.
Yeah, that's what's up. I like that. Showing respect and
Yeah, man. I always gotta give props to people that helped me become who I am because I could never be like the whole like concept of like self-made is so
right,
like weird because it's like nobody's ever like makes themselves like
right.
everybody comes together and like adds their piece for you to like be where you are. So you
Hundred
just gotta
percent.
acknowledge all of that shit, man.
Yeah, there's so many people involved. I get it completely, man.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
me, I'm trying to make it in the interview game, man, and you're helping me right now. So I mean, you'll be getting some shout outs from me eventually when I'll become
Yeah.
big.
Hell yeah, man.
I
Well, this was
appreciate you, brother.
enjoyable, man.
What's that?
I said this was enjoyable, man. Thank you.
Yeah, enjoyable, man. The pleasure was all mine, partner. Thank you so
Head
much.
up in the clouds
All right.
like Zeus when they say you ain't the GOAT.